Hello from London. Okay, I've lived in London for 10 years. I've got friends that have lived here for even longer than that. And part of the advantage of living here versus what you guys are doing, visiting, is that we get loads of time to explore the nooks and crannies of this city. And that's part of what I think makes me very good at my job. But sometimes us Londoners find things and places that we think are so good, it's sometimes tempting to hide them from the tourists because we want to keep them for ourselves. But in this video, we are going to stop the gatekeeping and I'm going to tell you about some places that Londoners love, but sometimes we're like, maybe we can't tell the tourists. So come along. I think you're going to really like these places. They're a bit more adventurous and fun, and we'll get some good treats along the way as well. So let's go. This is Camden Passage, a pedestrianized, super cute shopping street here in Islington, an area that tourists often don't come to. This is different from Camden Lock and Camden Market, which are super well known to tourists, and quite frankly, I don't think are that great. Camden Passage is actually more popular with locals that live in the area, and it's also where a lot of antiques shows film. This is a 1969 original vintage London Underground diagram of lines tube map. That is very cool. That's like a really special gift if you have someone who loves London back at home. There are lots of great brick and mortar cafes, shops, and restaurants here that are open basically every day. But if you come on a Wednesday or a Saturday, that's when you're gonna find the antiques market, vintage market, and another market that just sells a whole bunch of stuff. So those are great days to come. There's also some stalls that will be open Thursdays and Fridays, but Wednesday and Saturday is the main buzz, the main deal, and Wednesday is always gonna be quieter than a Saturday. So personally, I'd recommend coming on a Wednesday. That's when we're here. I really like this little shop, Pistachio and Pickle Dairy. They do like British cheeses, but they do these toasties that you can smell from down the passage. And they're so good. Cheese and chili jam, that's what I got. Oh man, that is cheesy. The next place I'm gonna show you is where you can go for some really tasty chocolate that you can take home to family and friends if you don't eat it before you get home. This is Dark Sugars, a chocolate shop opened by a Ghanaian woman named Nyanga, who started with a stall selling truffles in Borough Market, and she did so well that she opened up 3 brick and mortar shops, and this is the OG location here on Brick Lane. I love this shop because you can smell the rich chocolate as you pass by and it's like drawing you into it. The chocolate here is amazing. Everything is handmade on location with chocolate that is from Nyanga's family's farm in Ghana. So this is like really, really good stuff. Also, I'll be honest, no Londoners are really trying to gatekeep this place, but I just kind of wanted an excuse to feature them and also to have a reason to come and get some chocolate. So let's go into the shop and I'll show you what I think is the best thing to order in there. I'll take one of the classic hot chocolates.
Okay, with normal milk and chocolate shavings?
Ooh, I'll do actually oat milk. That would be great.
Milk?
Yeah,
Okay.
and chocolate shavings too. Yes,
Yep.
thank you. One of my favorite things to get here, and also one of the things they're most famous for at Dark Sugars, is their decadent hot chocolate. It is made with Ghanaian chocolate, and they put these shavings on the top, and it is just so rich and so delicious. If you find yourself getting a little bit tired while you're doing your touristing around London, we have so many incredible green spaces where you can go relax, take a load off your feet, or just hang out and explore. And one of those great green spaces is Camley Street Park, right here in Coldrops Yard in King's Cross, right next to Regent's Canal. This place is amazing because it's a nature reserve right in the middle of one of the busiest parts of London, right next to Regent's Canal. But actually, because it's a little bit off the beaten path, a lot of Londoners don't even know about it, but it is a beautiful green space to come visit. It's crazy because you don't really feel like you're in buzzy King's Cross while you're in here. This is where all the coal from the north of England would come before it got distributed out to London to get burned. And once coal was banned, then this area actually went into disrepair until 1985, when a regeneration of this area began. Then we got Camley Street Park, and a few years ago, Coldrops Yard popped up, which is a development of restaurants, shops, cafes. We've talked about it a lot on this channel. It is a great spot to come if you're in the area. We're also right next to Regent's Canal, so you could pair a visit here with a nice long walk up the canal, past Camden to Regent's Park, or you could go the opposite way and make your way to Victoria Park. This place is really family friendly, so if you want to bring the kids here, there's activity books, they do special family events, and it's just nice and open for children to do a little bit of running around and exploring. This spot is right in central London in Covent Garden, and it's kind of like a little breakaway from the buzziest part of the city. I'm a little hesitant to tell people about it, but we're not gatekeeping in this video, so here we go. We're actually at the top of the Royal Opera House in Covent Garden. If you go all the way to the top of the stairs and the escalators, you will find the Terrace bar where we are now. And it is absolutely beautiful. You get to look over Covent Garden, there's greenery everywhere. You can come up here and order champagne, cocktails, you can even bring up coffee in the morning, and it's actually doesn't get that crowded considering what a great, beautiful space this is. There's actually a lot of places that you can eat and drink throughout the Royal Opera House. They even have a beautiful restaurant, but you don't have to have a ticket to a show to come up here. It's open from 12 o'clock basically every day, but I would recommend that you pair a visit here with a tour of the Royal Opera House, which they put on almost every day of the week. How many of you have watched one of my videos? Raise your hand. It's very hard to find the entrance to Frank's if you've never been, so Heck'n'Plex, and then it's over here. There you go. Aperol sour sounds lovely. Ooh, that's tasty. We've covered a lot of rooftops on this YouTube channel, and I personally absolutely love them. But most rooftops in London come with hefty price tags on the cocktails. So if that's not gonna work for you, we've actually got a great place. We are here at Frank's Cafe, which is in Peckham in South London, and this is a local favorite. This is a bar at the top of a disused car park, and Londoners love to come here on a sunny day for good cocktails, good food, good views, good vibes, and good prices. Can't beat them. This is a community-run space, and the not-for-profit group that run it actually help emerging artists to create amazing art installations up here on the rooftop right next to the cafe. So definitely check those out once you've grabbed a cocktail and see some really cool art. It's kind of like a 2-for-1 deal. You can actually see a lot from up here. There's the Shard, the Walkie-Talkie building with the Sky Garden at the top, St. Paul's is in the distance, the London Eye is over there, and over to the right is Canary Wharf, which is the financial district. Frank's is only open from Wednesday to Sunday during the summer months, so in the UK that's May to September because nobody really wants to drink a Pimm's in the rain. I mean, to be fair, it's never stopped a British person before, but during the summer on a sunny day, this is one of the vibiest places that you will find in all of London. It gets pretty crazy. I'll give you a couple more things that you can do while you're down here in Peckham. Right at the bottom of this building is Peckenplex, which is an independent cinema, and they have some of the cheapest cinema tickets in the entire city. They're usually around £5, so you can go see a film there. Or if you prefer to watch something outdoors, right over there is a rooftop screen where you can see cinema out in the outdoors. It's called the Rooftop Film Club. They show films a couple of times a week when the weather is good. So there you go. Got a couple more things you can do when you're in Peckham. It's such a cool place that I'm so sad that more tourists don't come here. There's such cool stuff going on here. Okay, there's honestly no way that I can travel abroad these days without being connected. I need Google Maps, I need WhatsApp, and I want to stay safe while I'm solo traveling. But paying for roaming with your home carrier can really add up, and getting one of those finicky little local physical SIMs can be really annoying. But you can use SimLocal's eSIMs, which is the easy way to stay connected while you're traveling. Just choose your destination country and how much data that you need, then activate your digital SIM on your phone when you arrive in just a few easy steps. No physical SIM, no messing around. You'll stay connected at local rates, which will save you a lot of money, and you won't have to change your phone number. SimLocal is highly rated with almost 5 stars on TripAdvisor and Google, and they have a 60-day return policy, so you don't have to worry. SimLocal partners with top networks like 3, Orange, and EE, so you always get the best local coverage and fast speeds. 4G and 5G wherever you go. Get 10% off your SimLocal purchase with our discount code and use the link down in the description box, or you can scan this QR code to open it up on your phone. Plus, you'll be supporting everything that we do on Love in London. Okay, let's get back to the video. Good morning from London. As you probably know, this city is filled with so much history, and I want to show you some of it. But not the stuff that you can find all over the internet, but rather some of the hidden gems that people walk past every single day and have no idea how much history is behind them. I'm also gonna have a couple of friends show you some of their favorite historic spots around the city, so let's go. We're now in the City of London, also known as City, which is generally known as the financial part of the city. So you'll find lots of tall gray buildings with people inside crunching away some numbers. But in between the River Thames and Great Tower Street is St. Dunstan in the east. Let me show you. Back in the 12th century, a beautiful church was built on this land, which then unfortunately was destroyed during the Great Fire of London. Then in 1700, they rebuilt the church, and Sir Christopher Wren added a steeple as well. Unfortunately, it was damaged again during the Blitz. However, the steeple and a few other parts did survive. In 1967, this became a public park, which means that anyone who does know about it gets to come in and enjoy the beauty whenever they want. And this place is often considered an ode to the resilience of London's monuments and buildings. We're now in Bloomsbury in central London, and I'm here with Becky from the tour company Women of London, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the place that we're in now and a couple of historical gems that you can't miss if you stumble across this area.
Hi.
Perfect, let's do it.
Let's go. Yeah, so I picked Gordon Square. Bloomsbury has a lot of different squares, neighbourhoods, and people used to use them as private gardens. Most of them are now open to the public. And what I like about this one is it's right close to such a busy area in London. So you've got Tottenham Court Road just over there, you've got King's Cross with the British Library and the big station over there. And on a really nice day, you can see it's just a moment of peace. And, there's a bit of wildlife. There's a lot of history in this area. All the houses near here have blue plaques to people who used to live here, literary figures, artists, and things like that. And I just feel like you can take a moment to kind of appreciate all the other people that used to kind of hang out here. So this is the memorial to Noor Inayat Khan, whose family lived just up the road from Gordon Square. She actually spent time in the gardens while she was here studying, writing books. And she was recruited during World War II to become one of the undercover spies that was shipped over to France. She spent just over a year there, was unfortunately arrested by the Gestapo and sadly executed at Dachau concentration camp. So in 2012, there was a call for a memorial to this woman for the sacrifice that she gave, and this was the memorial they came up with. So if you come to Gordon Square and you don't stop at Noor's memorial, you've missed, in my opinion, the best thing about Gordon Square. So as well as the larger memorials that you'll find in squares like this, there are also these small ones to more locals who lived in and around Gordon Square. This bench has one to Ben Cohen and Myrtle Cohen, locals that probably live just off the square here. So it's always worth kind of stopping at the small benches and having a look at who it's dedicated to.
Now, if you want to come explore Gordon Square with Becky, you can do so via her tour, Women of Bloomsbury, which you can book by clicking the link down in the description box of the video. And she's great, so definitely join. And she's got other tours that are great too. The next hidden historic gem is tucked away from the hustle and bustle of Mayfair, but can be very easy to miss. Two world famous musicians actually lived right next to each other in Mayfair, but they were separated by a couple hundred years. Jimi Hendrix and the composer George Frederick Handel lived right next to each other, and to preserve this very interesting history, their flats have been turned into the Handel and Hendrix Museum. You can now go there and see recreations of what their places looked like when they lived there, and also learn about these famous musicians and their time living in London. If you like music and a little bit of time travel, this is a great museum for you to visit. We are now in Soho, and I have brought you here to see a water pump. Stick with me here. This water pump is really important when it comes to the history of medicine. So back in the 19th century, Europe was dealing with some crazy diseases, including cholera. Enter John Snow, a physician who was tasked with trying to find out how cholera was spreading in England. Through his investigations, he was able to trace an outbreak in Soho, which killed 500 people in just 10 days, to one specific water pump, the Broad Street pump. As soon as they shut the pump off, they stopped the spread of cholera and saved tons of lives in this area. These days, you can see this memorial pump, and you can see the red brick that shows exactly where the original pump was. And even better than all of this is the fact that John Snow is commemorated right behind John, who's behind the camera, in his very own pub called John Snow. So after you have checked out the pump, you can go in and have a pint and celebrate all the good he did for this city. By the way, if it's your first time visiting London, I have a free London 101 guide that has everything that you need to know before you get here. So make sure you grab that, again, for free by clicking the link in the description box of the video. Okay, let's go back to the hidden historic gems. Now we're in Bermondsey, one of my favorite areas in all of London. There are lots of little cafes that you can stop in and get a coffee at around here, but there's one in particular that we're going to go to that has an interesting and somewhat dark past. This is the Watchhouse. Now a posh cafe, this building dates back to the 1800s as part of the church next door, St. Mary Magdalene. Along with the church was a graveyard, and the watchhouse was where the men that were hired to watch out for grave robbers would take shelter. And grave robbing was apparently a pretty big problem back then. These days, you can go inside and have a coffee and a pastry and admire the cozy historic structure while you're at it, or you can go next door to the graveyard, which is now a beautiful public park for everyone to enjoy. There's the watchhouse, there's the church, all the dead bodies that didn't get robbed because of the people who were in the watchhouse. We're now just a few minutes away from St. Paul's Cathedral, and we're gonna enter this beautiful garden that has a special hidden gem in it that makes it stand out from the rest of the green spaces in the area. So let me show you. This is Postman's Park, named after the postmen that worked at the nearby old General Post Office that would come here on their lunch breaks. These days, this park is still a popular lunch spot for people who work in the area and that know about it, especially in the spring and summer, because it is beautifully maintained, all the flowers are in bloom, and we are visiting in the dead of winter, so you do kind of have to use your imagination a little bit. The most special thing about this park, however, is just over here. Behind me is Watt's Memorial to heroic self-sacrifice. Behind me is the Watts Memorial to Heroic Self-Sacrifice, which was built in 1900. It is a wall of 54 plaques commemorating 62 people who lost their lives trying to save someone else's. The earliest case is 1863, and the most recent is in 2007. So when you come to Postman's Park, make sure you go and read some of the stories of these everyday heroes. So here's an example. Ellen Donovan of Lincoln Court in Great Wild Street rushed into a burning house to save a neighbor's children, and she unfortunately passed away doing that. And that was July 28th, 1873, a long time ago. We are in Spitalfields now, and I have got Ellie here. She runs the tour company called Rebel Tours, and she's gonna take us around the corner to one of her favorite historic hidden gems around here. So, should we go? Yeah, let's do it.
Well, I chose Fournier Street as my little hidden gem because I think that if you look at the houses here, they are some of the, I think, most beautifully restored and well-kept Georgian houses that we have in London. And the area has such a fantastic history. The beautiful row of houses that we have today, they were mainly built around the year 1720 for or rented by master silk weavers. So a little indication of that is above on the buildings here, you've got the lovely kind of little bobbin there that hangs off, just kind of letting you know of the heritage of the buildings as well. So usually the silk weavers or silk mercers also leased the buildings. They would have their showrooms on the bottom floor, which is, you know, still today some of these windows are open and they've got lovely displays in the windows so you could see all the lovely things on offer. And then the upstairs windows, there we're letting in a lot of light, which was perfect for the looms. So plenty of room and plenty of light for the actual weaving itself. We do have a lot of what we call ghost signs all over London, but we have a lot in the East End. So this would be an example of a ghost sign. It's just a sign for the business that used to be here, obviously that's no longer here. But this one is interesting because it shows us the shift, I suppose, and the changing population of the East End. I believe that this was a man called Simon Schwartz, but I think that this used to be a dairy. There used to be like a little yard here with an actual cow. And a little bit further down where we stopped before, there was another ghost sign for Kira, who's also a Jewish banana merchant as well. Yeah, so I love seeing these little signs kind of dotted around, and yeah, and if I can, I'll research them and try to find out like what they used to be.
Thank you for showing this spot, Ellie. And people can actually come here on a tour with you.
That's right, you can. Now, I talked a little bit about Fournier Street, but on the tour we talk about much, much more. The tour is actually called Jack the Ripper, What About the Women? Because in the East End we have a fascinating history, but we do live in the shadow of the Whitechapel murders. So on my tour, you'll learn about the women at the centre of the story, about their fascinating lives, and just in general about what life was like back here in the Victorian East End.
Hello from London. Listen, here at Love in London, we love telling you guys about great places you can eat and drink that the locals love here. However, there are some places that are so good that Londoners just want to gatekeep them, keep them to ourselves so the tourists don't know about it. But in this video, we are not doing that. We're going to take you to some places that Londoners love so much and don't want the tourists to know about, but we're going to take you anyway so you can eat and drink well too. So let's go. First up, we've come to Maida Vale in West London to Café La Ville. And if you've ever wanted to romanticize your life while you sip a flat white and look over the beautiful Regent's Canal, this is the perfect place to do it. So come on. So this is not only a cafe, but it's also an Italian restaurant where they serve pasta, pizza, focaccia sandwiches. So I have gone for a cappuccino and a tiramisu, which I'm waiting to dive into. We're in a very local area that honestly tourists don't come to very often, so it's a lovely, relaxed neighborhood feel in here. And if you come to visit, you can have your coffee, and then we're right on Regent's Canal, so you could go in either direction and see some of the most beautiful parts of London. Oh, look at that. So if you go up that direction on the canal, then you get to Paddington and Paddington Basin, where there's some lovely cafes and restaurants. And there is even a cafe restaurant on a boat, which we have covered in our West London guide. So watch that video next. Next up, we are in Spitalfields, but not the part that the tourists are usually in, over by the market, over where the locals usually are. And I'm gonna show you this place behind me, which is called the Culpeper. And the Culpeper is a pub, a restaurant, and it has a rooftop garden where you can have drinks. Not only can you get good food, good drinks, and a good atmosphere here, there's also an amazing sustainability aspect to this place. So come on in, I'm gonna show you. Thank you. Okay, the food in this pub is so good. So I have had these two dishes before. This is the agnolotti with nuts and other delicious things. There's pumpkin in there as well. And then this is the mushroom orzo. I remember both of these being absolutely amazing. I also went for the polenta fries, polenta strips with a lovely green sauce on the side. And this is, I think, my favorite pub to eat in all of London. It just has top-notch food. We're here during the week for lunch, so we're downstairs. But if you come on a weekend for lunch or you come for dinner, you will book a table up in the dining room, which is absolutely stunning. I highly recommend getting up there. They also have a fabulous rooftop where you can come for drinks and to check out the amazing sustainability part of this place. They actually grow loads of their own veggies and herbs up here that they use in their food. So if you come here to eat, it's super likely you'll eat something that was grown literally on the roof of the restaurant. Okay, my next recommendation isn't for just one place, but loads of really cool breweries, bars, and distilleries in one of my favorite areas of the city, Bermondsey. There's a roughly 1 mile stretch called the Bermondsey Beer Mile where you can go on a really cool pub crawl and try loads of locally brewed beers, gins, and even mead. It's such a cool way of both exploring Bermondsey in Southeast London and trying out local drinks. I'm actually not going to start off with a drink, but I'm going to a street food market nearby called Maltby Street Market to get something to soak up the booze. A lot of the bars around here are only really open on a Saturday afternoon, so you'll join loads of other groups of Londoners doing the same mile-long stretch. Maybe you'll make some local friends along the way. And there's no official guide on how to do it. It's a really organic, unofficial route carved by locals over the years. Distilleries and breweries open and close, so it's always a little bit different. Right now, there's somewhere around 20 breweries and distilleries you can go to, but that number will probably look different when you visit. There's loads of variety, so you'll be able to choose a route that works best for you. Even if you're a pretty big drinker, you won't be able to hit all of them. Our next location is a speakeasy bar here in Shoreditch in East London, and this is a great place to come if you want a really experiential, cool night out in London. Right next to me is a very unassuming door, but if you push it open and you head down the stairs, you will end up in Lounge Bohemia. This is a tiny, intimate bar that is by appointment only that does the most experimental and special cocktails, I think, in the entire city.
This cocktail is called the Canadian Breakfast, and it was basically made in front of us. Came with little pancakes with blueberries, but then on the side there was a granita that was then mixed with this maple syrup concoction, and it made a little breakfast smoothie. Ooh.
They have a super interesting menu with so many choices, no matter what kind of drink you like, or if you really want to make a night of it, you can do one of their tasting menus. Now, like I said, this place is really tiny, so you do need to book in advance, and they do have one rule: no suits. We've made it down to Brixton in South London, and behind me is Chip Shop, which is a restaurant, bar, and live music venue. And it's quite famous because it's had some pretty major rappers perform here, like Kalashnikov and Ice-T. They also do community-based open mic nights, and they help to support the local up-and-coming talent in the area. It's called Chip Shop because the owners wanted to combine the two things that they love: hip hop and fish and chips. So you can actually go in here and still get fish and chips, as well as a load of other comfort food like loaded nachos, burgers, vegetarian fish and chips, tons of stuff. So you're gonna come here, get some good food, get some drinks, and have amazing buzzy vibes. If you go to any of the places that we talked about in this video, be sure to tag us on Instagram so we can see. And of course, check out the casual tourist guides, which are linked in the description box of the video. And we have hundreds of other videos you can watch to help you with your trip to London. And you can do so by clicking one of the boxes popping up right around me.